Visitation of Remembrance will be held from 2 to 4 on Monday at Olson Funeral and Cremation, and they are handling the arrangements for Dwayne Berry. Patricia Ann Stock, 92, of Fergus Falls, died November 7th. Visitation will be Sunday from 4 to 6 at Glindy Nelson, and the service will be Monday morning at 11 at Living Faith Church of Fergus Falls, with fellowship following. Glindy Nielsen Funeral and Cremation in charge of the arrangements for Patricia Stock. That concludes the announcements.
You probably know Leighton Media as the company that's rocked the radio waves for over 60 years. But did you know that we put the same passion and energy into helping businesses with digital marketing? Leighton Engage works with you to implement strategic, targeted digital marketing campaigns with regular check-ins, clear expectations, and results that make sense.
Leighton Engage. Find your focus.
Get in touch today and make sense of digital marketing.
It always bugs me when I hear Christmas shopping commercials before Thanksgiving. It's just too early. That said, it's not too early for me to talk to you about Thanksgiving now. Hi, this is Zola from PlanZDiet.com. Can you imagine what it would be like to show up for your family Thanksgiving dinner about 31 pounds lighter? Heads would turn and jaws would drop. Well, the average Plan Z dieter loses 31 pounds in just 50 days. If you get started soon, you have time to drop that weight and waltz into that holiday dinner looking and feeling great. Plan Z is a real food diet. Nothing from a box, no magic shakes, real food. There are hundreds of tasty recipes too. My ZR50 Crave Control Spray puts you in control of your diet. It's designed to keep your cravings down, along with all the rest of the nasty stuff that happens when you try to diet. Sanity at last is how one dieter put it. If you've been thinking about a diet, now's the time to act. Instead of waiting till January to start another diet, you can get this one done before the holidays even start. Celebrate thinner this year. Check us out at PlanZDiet.com.
There's a cat explosion at the Humane Society of Lauderdale County with 27 cats available for adoption and 10 more becoming available soon. That's right, 27 cats. Long hair, short hair, cuddlers, players, and couch potatoes. Not only is the selection tremendous, the Humane Society is running an adoption special of $50 for all cats, including kittens, through the month of November. This includes spay, neuter, immunizations, and a microchip. Stop by the shelter soon to see these little charmers. Humane Society of Lauderdale County, 1933 West Fur Avenue, Fergus Falls.
Remember that amazing video you shot for your business last year? What are you using it for now? At Leighton Engage, we can help you reach your potential customers through streaming TV, utilizing your video. We can help you create content or maximize your investment you already made and help drive real results. No wasted effort, just effective marketing.
Leighton Engage. Find your focus.
Get in touch today and make sense of digital marketing.
When it comes to honoring a life well lived, two names stand out: Glendy Nielsen Funeral Home and Cremation Services and Olson Funeral and Cremation. Two local funeral homes with a rich history in Fergus Falls. Together, they stand with a shared commitment of compassionate care and to support families during life's most challenging moments. When you need the guidance and understanding to help honor your loved ones with dignity and respect, trust both Glendy Nielsen and Olson Funeral Homes. Two funeral homes, one common mission in Fergus Falls.
Why are interscholastic sports called the last classroom of the day? Because they teach students important life lessons like teamwork, accountability, and perseverance. School sports are so much more than a game. They're about developing the whole person. That's why they're an essential part of every student's education.
Encourage your student to participate in the last classroom of the day. Interscholastic sports in Minnesota. This message presented by the MSHSL and the Minnesota Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
News, weather, sports, and farm information. News Talk 1250 AM KBRF Fergus Falls. Depend on it.
News Talk 1250 KBRF, American Federal Bank, American Legion, the Minnesota Motor Company, and by the Artisan Agency. Here's KBRF Sports Director Craig Olson.
Portions of today's program may be pre-recorded.
Steve Atchison are coming in at 9 o'clock from the 86-87 Otters, all of which went to state, along with this year's state tournament team, of course. So got a lot to cover, and we're going to start with cross country. What a year for, we were just talking, Derek Meyer is here, the head coach of the Otter boys cross country team, and we'll start where I started, what I saw you this morning, Derek. And again, it's a beautiful day today, but have you ever experienced a fall like this weather-wise as a coach where, I mean, you didn't have many, if any, bad days for competition, even for practice?
Well, it was definitely a fair fall, and definitely made for less thinking of what to do. For we're definitely going to be outside every day. Was we didn't have much for rain. We didn't have cold stuff or snow or anything like that. So I guess now that most things are wrapping up that are outdoors, we can let it fly.
Oh no, that could mean anything. Look at the Colorado, right? But they have 3 feet of snow.
Yeah.
I don't like to hear that. It's in our future, I'm afraid. Well, you had a lot of great expectations coming into this year with a tremendous group of senior runners and underclassmen who have bought in, let's say, to the program. That's kind of the phrase we like to use, a catchphrase. And they had goals this year, and they trained in the off season and got to a point where you returned, you got to return to state again. Another great section meet for you. Kind of everything that these guys were hoping for, they accomplished this year.
Yeah, they definitely set their sights on getting back to the state meet. And like you said, that all starts in the summer, and it's a grind and an accomplishment to make it to that meet healthy. And they did a great job, and tipping our hats to our seniors and our leadership of having that appearance there. And that's their 3rd trip. Jaden Miller's 4th trip. 4 for 4 for Jaden.
Wow.
And Jaden's freshman year, when he went by himself, that was his goal, to get his teammates back there. And boy, we never looked back from that spot. It was one of the most successful seasons that we've had in Otter history. This is I would beg to differ anything, but the most decorated cross-country team in history. Where Jaden Miller is the record holder for our cross-country program, and Henry Grenigal is 4th overall. And these guys are they're awesome, they're amazing, and they're one of the best teams to ever be a part of our program. So it's there's so much to say about them, and we don't have that kind of time.
Well, they set the bar high, didn't they, for future teams? And I'm always excited to see how it goes from here. You lose a good amount of seniors, some great leadership there, but how have what they experienced, how has that affected the underclassmen? How will they respond to this? That's the question, I guess. Will they be looking at what they did and how they set the pace and said, hey, we got to do what these guys did, and we got to take it even more to another step, a step further to get back there and keep this tradition going? I'm sure the challenge is there for the guys that are coming back.
Yeah, definitely. I think the expectation and the tradition and the pride is set each and every year, and just those guys having that experience with those underclassmen getting to come back, they get to kind of reteach that over and over. These seniors now, they kind of put it into their own mold, I guess, but it just year after year, it just kind of grew more and more of being part of that culture and that team forming. But it definitely every year it had helped them. Being down at the state meet, there was one less little thing to worry about. 2 years ago when we made our switch, we had to kind of get used to some things down there, but that was more logistics. These
Right.
guys, eventually they were just the wily old vets coming in there. And so now that we kind of are going to have a little bit of a turnover with those guys coming out of there, but we still have that experience of being in the big meets and feeling those big moments. And I definitely think that we can handle it.
Derek Myers with us, head coach of the Otter Boys cross country team. They finished 11th out of 16 teams in the team competition at the Les Bolstead golf course, the course at the University of Minnesota last Saturday. This meet was held. The event was won by Marshall. Perham was number 2. And, Perham coming out of our section also as champions. You, before you even get to state, I mean, you've had some stiff competition to kind of ready you for what you saw down there, because Perham's in your section. You see them at a lot of meets, but they're not the only ones. You're in a conference, the Central Lakes Conference has a lot of larger schools, obviously, and you see some really good competition all season long. How much does that play into being ready, Derek, to go down to a meet like last week and just be on your game?
Plays a lot into it. I think it's an advantage of our sport where we get to see multiple teams. We don't just get to see one team and one little snapshot. We see them all within the course and the season. When we go to Rocori, we try to kind of snapshot some different competition to see. So when we're at Rocori, we get a little more of the southern and city schools to see something, because I think that was like one of the only times we saw Big Lake, which was one of the other teams that qualified for there, and in Becker. So it's definitely a nice showing of how things are going to go for the season, and where we stand, and what we need to do to get to a little better push to the postseason.
You mentioned Jaden and Henry, who are in your top 4 all-time time list there, but you had a lot of other guys really step up and do things this year, personal bests consistently. Who did you feel came the furthest for you, or what guys kind of really took it to that next level and the challenge that they had in their senior year?
Michael Schmidt had an outstanding year, and he pushed again for another big time drop this year. He was, I think, 1638 was his, and that's number 9 on our top 20 otter list, and he just had a tremendous year. He had a fairly healthy year. He's kind of a kid who he can tend to get into some accidents, and he's had those fair share during his course from 7th grade all the way through. And I think one year when he was a 7th grader, he broke his arm and he had a cast for a while over the summer, and so it was he always had something going on. So it was just an awesome to kind of we got rid of some of those. They're going to be hard to replace athletically and leadership wise and all that. So it's hats off to those seniors and all of our seniors for our amazing season this year.
When Jamie Lill was in wrapping up tennis a couple weeks ago, we were talking about how you turn a program around and how the athletes have to get to a point where they believe they can do what they want to do, what they plan to do. They have to believe they can do it. And when you got to sections or got to state out of sections 2 years ago, is that kind of when it kicked in with these guys? I mean, you have that goal start. Hey, we're going to get to state. Well, you finally get to state. Then do you just really start to believe that it's not a dream? Hey, we can do this.
I think it might have even started the year before, when they had that sour taste in their mouth of we were so close. I think they're 4 points away. And 4 points in cross country is not a lot. That's just like, you can see it. I was that close to where that was. And that was the year that was kind of a disappointing year. We had a sickness that happened on our number 2 runner, so probably would have went, but it didn't. So motivation is kind of the key part there. But yeah, definitely they knew that they had it in them, and they were all coming back, and we reloaded for that next year too. And yeah, it's kind of fun to look back on all those little moments that probably built us into what we were today.
So the underclassmen this year certainly benefited a lot from being around these seniors, not only this year, but last year. And whenever they started their experience as an otter cross-country runner, they've been exposed to these guys. I'm sure there's a lot of motivation to continue what's happened there. Who are the guys that you're looking to be your leaders now that you're losing this group of seniors, who's going to step into those leadership roles?
So next year we'll have Matthew Toole. He'll be a senior, and definitely going to need him to be in that role of kind of being our number one guy and filling in there. We're going to have our experience level with Brody Nelson and Sam Rasmussen being juniors, of just kind of having that experience and that level. Man, those two guys really had awesome seasons and they just kind of both had different levels of it. Brody kind of was coming off of a really successful track season, and he really built on that. But Sam kind of came in clutch and late, and he was actually the only one that had a personal best at the state meet. And that course is deceivingly tough. I think just within the moment of all the adrenaline and everything going on, some kids can see a lot of success, but that back half of that race has just got some monster hills. I mean, there's a big downhill, but for every downhill, there's an uphill. And for Sam to come out of there with a personal best is just a great thing. And it'll be another leader we'll have will be Micah Mosier. He'll also be a senior, so we'll have 2 seniors and 2 juniors coming back from our state roster there. So we'll have to look for maybe one more guy to fill in, and we've got a pretty awesome crop of 8th graders coming in to be 9th graders that we'll look to kind of dip from the well there of what we got. But we've got some pretty awesome underclassmen that I think will be hungry to get one of the 3 or 4 spots that will be open.
All right, before I let you go here, we could go another 15 minutes, I know, but Cassie Wellman, need to talk about Cassie.
Yes,
6th in the state in girls competition in her third appearance at state, right, as a 10th grader, or 7th, 8th.
Yep.
Yeah, she only missed 1 year since 7th grade going to state, but what a great season she had, and what a way to cap it off.
Yeah, absolutely. She getting to that course and being where she was last year, it was a great season. I mean, how can you not say you had a great season making it to the state meet? But she was hungry for something more. Her goal was to make it the medal stand, be in the top 10. So she just worked her tail off all summer and just came in with that grit and determination all season of pushing herself and finding herself a little bit more of being in that front pack and discovering of feeling that leading a race instead of inching from behind. And she pushed it for the whole race of being in that front pack with those girls that entire state race. She was up there with that front pack for the first 2 miles, and the first 2 St. Paul Highland girls, once the 2-mile hit, they started to kind of push out a little bit and extend things, but Cassie kind of kept with her race and continued on, and she was actually ahead of that Wilmer girl in 5th, and that's just kind of the continuation of how that went. Is her that Wilmer girl's long legs just kind of pushed her, but she ended up 6th and came in strong, and her time was really close to her best for like it was a 18:37. Is that what?
Yep, 18:31. Yeah.
Oh, 18:31. Well, even better than.
Yeah.
So I mean, like we talked about with that course, it's not a fast course, and I think Coach Weldy talked about with the conditions with it being soft. We did have a little bit of snow the night before that disappeared. So that's with that melting, it made things a little softer in some of the low spots.
Yeah.
So.
Is Lauren Eilers graduating now? Is she a senior? She's one of those.
I believe she was
awesome.
a senior, so that will open the door there. But there's always there's always a new leaf that turns over. That's always you can't turn your back on your competition.
Yep. Don't look now, but there's another girl coming up. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Derek, thanks so much to you and Nikki for being with us every week here to talk cross country, and great season for the Otters. Enjoy the off season now and start training, guys, right? You take a little break, but then you got to get into it.
Well, I can do cross country skiing.
There you go. That a lot of them will, won't
Yeah,
they?
yeah. Thanks,
Thank
Greg.
you, Derek. Derek Meyer, head coach of the Otter Boys cross country team. We're talking Otter football next with Chris Grabowska as our program continues on News Talk 1250 KBRF.
Hi, my name is Lori, and I'm the housing manager at Sheridan House in Fergus Falls,
I know.
Minnesota.
Yeah,
If
Cassie,
you're
jealous.
55 or older and looking for a quiet and comfortable apartment, meals available for purchase, a flexible month-to-month lease, plus $500 off your first month's rent, give me a call at 218-998-7404 or go to lbhomes.org/Sheridan. I'd love to show you around and see if Sheridan House is right for you.
Here's to a great season for all our favorite high school athletes. American Legion is a favorite too and serves up everyone's favorite barbecued ribs. American Legion of Fergus Falls, open each Wednesday through Saturday on Pebble Lake Road in Fergus Falls.
Student athletes have their eyes on the ball, making game plans, scoring points, breaking records. At American Federal in Fergus Falls, we know you have goals too. Whether it's buying farmland, business expansion, home ownership, or planning for retirement. Our trusted advisor, Dustin Morris, will help you find the best solutions and make the right calls. Make a winning appointment with an American Federal banker in Fergus Falls today. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Quality Toyota is proud to salute the achievements of each quality player. It takes teamwork to compete, and the Quality Player Award recognizes the extra effort by an individual in each athletic contest. Quality Toyota commends the hard work, dedication, and quality efforts of these outstanding youth. That attitude will help each quality player as they go forward. Congratulations to each of the quality players from Quality Toyota on West Lincoln Avenue in Fergus Falls. QualityToyota.net. Let's go places.
Welcome back to the program. Chris Grabowska, the head coach of the Otter football team, is joining us. A heartbreaker last night in the state quarterfinals, a 28-27 loss at the hands of the Albany Huskies. Two 10-0 teams going at it in, I don't know, Chris, it felt like a heavyweight fight in some, to have an analogy there, because, boy, it was just back and forth. You take the blows, and then you deliver the blows, and what a great battle.
Yeah, it was a great game, and back and forth all night, and we had our chances to win, I feel like, and just didn't come out quite on top like we wanted. But at the end of the day, I told the kids, proud of them for their efforts, proud of them for all the work they put in, and they got families that love them, they got a community that loves them, and a coaching staff that loves them at the end of the day, and I can't say anything more about how proud I am of our kids. So it was definitely a heartbreaker, and it's going to sting for a while, for sure.
Well, and it doesn't help to have to come in and talk on the radio about it right after, but it's fresh in our memory. And the first question has to be that last play. You're in a situation where an extra point kick ties the game, probably gets to overtime. There's only 23 seconds left after you scored that touchdown, and wind up with a situation where you wound up going for two. Describe what happened there on that conversion try.
Yeah, after we scored, we lined up in our swinging gate. We were going to try to get them, catch them off guard, catch them by surprise, and we were going to go for two on that. And then they ended up calling timeout, and we decided to kick the extra point at that point. And I think the sequence of that play kind of unfolded. Henry saw the edge pressure coming right in his face, and he called fire. And we've worked on that all year, that play too, so where we can have a successful try on the fire play. And he saw that pressure coming and took a chance and almost got it, but we'll never know if we should have kicked it or if we should have pulled it. So that's just kind of the way the game of football goes sometimes.
Well, and I mentioned to you, I was really anticipating overtime, because it would be fun to see this team in an overtime setting, because you have so many weapons, and it sure seemed like defensively you had really kind of established momentum in that fourth quarter. You shut them down a number of times on their fourth quarter possessions.
Yeah, our defense second half made some great adjustments. First half, I think all night we stopped the run. I mean, they
Right.
knew they couldn't run the ball, and first half they picked us apart in the pass game, and we made a couple of adjustments to take away, the flats and stuff like that. So, yeah, I mean, you're right. I think overtime would have been, I think it would have been a back and forth thing too, but,
You may still be playing if we were in
yeah.
overtime.
Yeah, maybe, you never know. But it's definitely shoulda, woulda, coulda. I think at the end of the night, Albany played a clean game. That's what it comes down to. And we made a couple too many mistakes on last night's game. So we got to own that.
Yeah, they didn't have any turnovers.
No.
Very few penalties.
Yes.
You had very few penalties.
Yeah, I thought the officiating crew did a great job of letting us play. And yeah, we just had a couple turnovers. I think we gave them a score on offense in the second half. And I mean, you can go back and rewind the whole game and you can point out mistakes and, you can't really blame it on the last play of the game. You can't blame it on this play of the game. You can't blame it on that turnover. I mean, everybody has to own the mistakes. And, there's points throughout the game that we could have done better. And that's just the way it goes.
Well, and yeah, the breaker play had to be the intercepted pitch that was returned into the end zone for a touchdown at a critical point of the game. The punt pinned you back deep, and then that kind of play, that's hard to recover from.
Yeah, it was. I mean, that's just situational football, right? Sometimes you just got to take the no gain or the loss instead of turning the ball over. We talk about that a lot, but we got guys on our team that want to make plays, and I can't fault them for that either.
Right.
So.
Yeah, that play, of course, you were very resilient after that because then you had the long drive that got you in a position to have the opportunity to win it.
Oh yeah, can't say enough about our grit and our desire to win. That was evident on that last drive, and after that turnover, we kind of. It was kind of back and forth. We stopped them, they stopped us. We finally get the ball back with a few minutes left in the game, and I think we were like on the 15-yard line or something like that, and field, and under 2 minutes or under 3 minutes to play in the game. That was impressive how we can do that, and I'm proud of our kids for our efforts, and I don't know what else to say about it.
Yeah, they had a field goal attempt that would have put them up, by double digits, and then it would have been very, very difficult, obviously, with that much time left. But they missed that field goal. Did that kind of give you guys a little boost of energy there too when they missed that field goal and you thought, hey, we've got a chance here?
Oh yeah, definitely. When they missed that field goal, we knew we can go down and score, and that was our plan all along. So credit our defense for getting a stop and giving us that opportunity, and credit our offense for driving down and giving us a chance, to either tie it or win the game. So
Rommeling, their quarterback, had a good night. He threw for 190 yards. They did have a couple of touchdown passes in there. They hurt you through the air. You shut them down on the ground all night. So what was the vulnerability defensively to the pass? What was happening there?
Yeah, their quarterback is good.
Yeah.
I think he's the best quarterback we've seen all year. Very accurate, gets rid of the ball quick. He knows where he's going with the ball, pre-snap every play. It was a combination of that and just, assignment breakdowns. So, I mean, you got to give them credit. They really hurt us in the pass game, and it's because of the quarterback and our assignment breakdowns.
Yeah. But like you said, you got better as the game went on and shut them down that fourth quarter offensively quite efficiently. The defense came up with some big plays down there in those possessions where you held them to 3 and out. Or I know there are a couple of sacks. I think Jack Gratz had a huge sack in there, and you didn't take the ball away from them at all, but you did push them back.
Yeah, I can't think of I've watched 10 games of film on them. We got all 10 of their games, and I didn't see that quarterback get sacked ever. And
wow.
We got a sack there and made our adjustments in the pass game, and we shut that down, and kind of, we did everything that we should have, and got the ball back to our offense. And like you said, it was a heavyweight fight, and it was a back and forth game, and is a fun game to be a part of, and just unfortunate that we didn't come out on the winning side of it. But I think at this point we got to really, kind of find a way to move on. It's definitely a heartbreaker, but on the other hand, we got to celebrate these kids.
Absolutely.
They had a great year, and we got to find a way, and that's what we're going to do. Moving forward, we got to celebrate these kids and their season and their success and all the efforts that they put in.
Well, talking about the adjustments you made in that fourth quarter, that was something this team did so well, it seems, the whole course of the season. They were able to adapt during the game. If the coaches, saw something and you had to change something, these kids were pretty good at that.
Oh yeah, they've been around for a long time, and these kids are really experienced. We've talked about that all year, and that's just the byproduct of being experienced. You can adjust on the fly, and they did a great job of doing that last night.
You had a good running attack going last night. Henry ran for 148 yards, I think Mark had him for. Karsten Froning ran for 90. Caleb Froning scored a couple of touchdowns. You were kind of doing what you wanted to do on the ground.
Yeah, we just based on film, we knew we could attack them in the ground game, and that was kind of the plan going in: run the ball and pass when we needed to. And I thought execution was really good. Minus a couple plays, obviously, but I thought our execution was really good on the offensive side of the ball.
We talked yesterday morning about the trenches and how this was going to be a battle down there, and it wasn't it? That was a tough game up front.
Yep, it definitely was, and I thought our linemen did a good job of, obviously, on the D-line shutting down the run game. On the O-line, I thought, obviously we ran the ball really well. Minus a couple plays where they like to blitz a lot, and they got us a couple times, but we also got them a couple times.
Yeah. Well, the season ends with a 10-1 record, just an outstanding year of Otter football, and I know you had great home crowds. We saw that consistently all year, but you had quite a crowd last night in Alexandria too, following you.
Yeah, it felt like a home game for sure. Our community has followed us well this year, and they supported us well this year, and just couldn't be more thankful for that. And that means a lot. And our kids appreciate that. Our coaching staff appreciates that so much.
Seniors, Chris, it's always hard for a coach. You spend a lot of time with these guys on and off the field, getting to know them over the years. They're part of your program, and then you have to say, hey, guys, good luck. Thanks for all you've done for the programs, for the Otters, for the community. It's going to be a tough group to lose. You had a great group of leaders.
Yeah, we definitely did. And I just getting to know them the past couple of years in and out of season. Can't say enough about our seniors. I told them last night, I appreciated them so much, and just getting to know them as people. They're so much fun to be around. And I just can't say enough about how much I appreciate them for setting our program up for success and showing the way that it takes to be successful.
What was your challenge to your underclassmen, or what will your challenge be to them when you meet with them here at the end of the season?
Definitely look to the people above you. The people, I'm talking about the seniors, they set the example, and we have to follow that, and we even have to set the bar higher. It's going to take a lot more. It's going to take what they did and then some. So that's my challenge to them.
All right. Yeah, and preparing for next year starts today.
Now.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right. Well, and great coaching staff. You work with some tremendous people who know the game, love the game, and most importantly, love to teach kids.
Oh, yeah. Can't say enough about my coaching staff. I'm really lucky. I feel like I have one of the best staffs in Minnesota. They do a great job. Lots of experience there. And
you mean they're old?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm just kidding.
Got some old guys. I'm pretty old, and I'm like one of the young guys on the staff. So, but we're going to figure this thing out and get the next group ready.
All right. Great. Thank you for being in consistently throughout the season, and yeah, great job on the sidelines with your kids.
Well, I appreciate all you do too, Craig, and it means a lot to just to us that you put our program out there and celebrate our program and get it out there and get us known. So appreciate that.
Well, you just added another great chapter to Otter football history with this team, the 5th time that the Otters have been in a state playoff situation. And football fans don't go away here because we're not done with football conversations. Richard Risbrud is coming up shortly to talk about the 08 team, and Don Stuvey and Steve Atchison will be here to talk about 86 and 87. Before that, we're going to talk girls hockey because we're transitioning to winter, Chris.
Yes.
Can you believe that?
I know, it's already here.
I know it. So thank you, Chris. Chris
Thank you.
Grabowska, head coach of the Otter football team. Tim Lill is waiting in the wings. He can hardly wait. The season starts today. He's got a lot of energy and passion about Otter girls hockey, and he'll share it with us on the other side of the break as we return on News Talk 1250 KBRF.
Nelson Auto Center in Fergus Falls has a fantastic starting lineup with America's 3 favorite truck brands, Ford, Ram, and GMC. Nelson Auto can help you enjoy your time out on the road. Check out our starting lineup at Nelson Auto Center, Fergus Falls.
Finding that missing shin guard, remembering whether it's a home or away game, getting the right kid to the right playing field on the right day. Why are simple things sometimes so complicated? Thankfully, with auto owners, insurance doesn't have to be one of them. We work with independent agents who keep insurance simple so you can worry about more important things, like not being that fan. Oh, come on, Ref! That's simple human sense.
Visit the Arneson Agency at their new location, 120 East Lincoln, Fergus Falls. High-quality local embroidery for your community. Running Stitches is the choice for everything, from business logos to team apparel and personal projects. They bring your designs to life. Andrew and Allison Olson from Running Stitches Embroidery are proud supporters of local sports.
Quality Toyota is proud to salute the achievements of each quality player. It takes teamwork to compete, and the Quality Player Award recognizes the extra effort by an individual in each athletic contest. Quality Toyota commends the hard work, dedication, and quality efforts of these outstanding youth. That attitude will help each quality player as they go forward. Congratulations to each of the quality players from Quality Toyota on West Lincoln Avenue in Fergus Falls. QualityToyota.net. Let's go places.
Stomach cancer is often misdiagnosed as acid reflux, indigestion, or an ulcer. Because of this, most stomach cancers are found in late stages when there are little to no options left for treatment. I'm not a healthcare provider, just a young mother who lost her husband to this cruel disease. If you or a loved one is experiencing persistent symptoms that can be really common, such as heartburn, having trouble swallowing, or indigestion, you should seek help with a gastroenterologist as soon as possible. You can also contact nostomachforcancer.org for more information.
Back to the program. Tim Lill is with us, and Tim is the head coach of the Otter girls hockey team. 11th season.
Yeah.
Wow. I was kind of
check.
Yeah,
Did it
you're
work?
there. You're
Okay.
on. You're on. I was surprised when I saw that. You've been at this a long time, but you've been around Otter hockey your whole life.
Yeah.
So,
Goes fast.
Yeah, no kidding. You know, you look at this year's edition of the Otter girls hockey team, and man, you've got a lot of people returning. 13, I think you said, letter winners back or starters back from last year.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, they put a lot of work in, and it's going to be exciting. It's going to be exciting today. You know, it hurts to lose the 6 seniors. You know, we got to replace a goalie, which we haven't had to do in a long time.
Right.
But we got some candidates up for that. And, you know, we got our 3 lines, and we got a couple D back. We lost Starzl today. We got and we switched some kids around too. I'm not sure why, but it just felt right. Yeah. But
that's your prerogative as coach, you know.
Shay Katzenmeyer is going to be getting her first varsity start at defense, as well as Kinsey Zender. So, and Rachel DeBrito has been a forward. She wanted to try D, and she's doing a great job. So, 3 out of the 4 are new. And because Lydia Johnson's got a banged up ankle, but so we got to hold on and wait for her to get back.
What's her prognosis? Will she be able to return before too long, or is it a long?
I think
recovery?
so. I think Mother told me the game on the 19th or 21st or somewhere in there.
Okay.
I'm letting those 2 figure that out, and she's tried to get on it, but it hasn't worked out too good. So told her, we need her in February, not in November. So get it right.
Yeah. Yeah, today Marshall is in town. It's a game that was supposed to be played last night, was moved because of a football game last night. So this afternoon, face-off for the varsity is
1 o'clock.
1 o'clock. Okay, over at the arena. So get that season rolling. Otter hockey, girls hockey is the first winter sport to get off the ground. So, and then boy, the games come fast, Tim. You're going to be like midway through your season by, well, not Thanksgiving, but certainly before Christmas.
Yeah, it doesn't take long. It adds up quick, and that's one thing about doing this is you start the last week in October, and before you know it, it's February. So these winters fly by.
And that's what I loved about my job, covering winter sports. The winter, it seems like, whoa, that was fast, So you're talking about some of the defensemen that are playing new positions or getting an opportunity back there. Let's go to the goalie situation for a minute, because losing, like you said, you haven't had to fill a goalie spot for many years. Anna Jerkis has been, you just pencil her in, she's in there. She graduated, but you do have some prospects here. You got 3 goalies on your roster. What's the situation look like?
Well, we need a game in all aspects. It's been 2 weeks, right? And the goalies are doing a good job in practice. We got to find out who wants the game. Mia Olson is going to start today, and we have Olivia Jurgens and Ella Sem, right there. We don't know how it's going to go this year. We're gonna just keep working, and that competition is a good thing. It drives them. No one can get complacent there, and so all I can tell you is Mia's playing today, Craig, and we're going to go from there.
That's all you have to tell me, right? And they're all underclassmen.
Yeah, sophomore and 2 juniors, and then we have an 8th grader too that's come up, and she's been fantastic too. Jordan Anderson.
Okay.
She doesn't say much. It's hard to get to know her, but I will.
Oh yeah, you've got your way of getting that done. So you mentioned some of the defensemen, and you said you have 3 lines. So go through the lines, if you would. Who's skating with who right now? And I know that's subject to change.
Yeah, I'll do what I can.
Okay.
So we got Johnny with Tani, and I suppose you want full names.
That would be good. You and Renee Erickson with the nicknames.
Hannah Johnson.
Yep.
So she's a junior.
She's Johnny.
Yep. She's a junior captain this year, and she'll have Avery Tonneson and Maddie Brimhall. That's kind of our first line set up there, and then we got Brindley Scholl is going to center Brooke Zierden and Nelson Aubrey. I don't call her Aubrey very often, but so that's going to be an interesting line too, because Zierden's always been playing defense, and we kind of swapped her and DeBrito around, and it's been fun to watch in practice. And we have Ava Eklund and Wohlers. I call Ashlyn Wohlers. Never called her Ashlyn before either. And Katie Berggren.
Okay.
So that's going to be our 3rd line tonight. And then everything's subject to change. We've got some hungry kids. I plan on those 3 lines, and I told the kids I need a varsity roster by about February 1st. So there's about 7-8 kids that are really trying to fill, 3 or 4 spots, and we're going to give them all a shot, So it kind of keeps them hungry too at the JV level. So we'll see how it all works out. I just want to get through today, because I don't know if we're any good. I don't know. Maybe we're good. Maybe we're not. I don't know. You got to have this first game.
I'm guessing you're good, but that's just me.
Sure.
So I'm just optimistic, when it comes down to it. Well, you certainly had a great success with your girls over the years, and defending section champs here. So you've got that to defend. So that means everybody's going to be shooting for you, right? That's what happens when you're the section champ.
Yeah. Well, and that's within the section too, and that's kind of why I like to go chase the bigger games,
right,
against the opponents that maybe on paper are better than us, and so we still have that fire to chase them, and you don't always win them, but to play the games against some of the top teams in the state is a fun challenge.
Yeah, the overall record doesn't matter much, I mean, what were you, 15-13 last year, something like that?
Yeah.
And you're at state.
Yeah.
I mean, again, you get better when you play better teams.
Right.
Win or lose. And you lost some close games to some really good teams. I mean, it's a loss on paper, but as a coach, you take a lot of positive things out of a game against a team like that.
You do. You're supposed to.
Right. You're good at it.
Well,
I
what
know
we've
you
seen,
are.
what we've seen is, losing, 90% of our games that we lost were by one goal, and it's one shot, So we told the girls that last spring when we were done, and there's so many kids that put a ton of work in this summer, and when they showed up and they're ripping pucks harder than I've seen a team do collectively, not just one or two kids, and that's really fun to see. So the work they put in, and that's not fun to do in June and July. Everyone would rather be out on a pontoon somewhere, and we appreciate the work they put in so much, and they get to see today if it worked out. I think it's gonna.
What about the section and the conference? When you look at the top teams there, Tim, who are the main competitors for you?
Well, Northern Lakes area will be our top competitor in the section. I seen they had a really tight one with East Grand last night. They were very young, and they had lost their goalie. I think another one moved to War Road.
Of course.
Anyways,
yeah.
So they had a new goalie last year, and by the end of the year, she was pretty good. So I can't imagine how much she's improved ready for this year. And they're putting, so I think they scored 4 goals against East Grand. I don't know, 4 or 5, 4 to 5, something like that. It was a close game though. And then in our conference, it's always the same: Alex, Brainerd, and St. Cloud, and Sartell, and all those teams. So that'll be fun.
Well, that conference schedule makes you better. Again, like we were talking about. I mean, there's no night off in the Central Lakes Conference, or very few.
Yeah. Play a lot of big schools, but that's okay.
Yeah. Assistant coaches, you're pretty familiar with your assistants. You guys have been together quite a while.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Todd Hirscher's been there all 11 years. He coaches the D and does everything.
You've known Todd since you were like,
I don't know,
2?
Yeah, 4 or 5.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah. We ran around out of Kinley School and the whole works.
There you go.
And Nikki Casas, she's kind of the head coach of the JV and takes care of our goalies, and she does such a phenomenal job with that. One of the biggest factor of the game has always been goalie, and when you have someone that takes care of it, sure makes my job a lot easier. And Brooks Anderson is back.
Yep.
And we added Hannah Baker this year.
Okay.
She was on my first team. I think she said she graduated, and that's how fast it goes.
I know.
16. She's like 26 years old or something. I thought she was like 21. It goes by that fast.
Yeah.
But she's back in town, and she wanted to get, back into the whole scene, and she helped with the soccer team. So she got to know some of the girls there, and now she's out at the rink and helping us, and I'm really excited to have her back.
All right. Hey, 1 o'clock today, they dropped the puck on the season. Get that Otter girls hockey season rolling. So get out and cheer on the Otters today.
That's the plan.
All right. Thank you, Tim.
You
Good
bet.
luck. Thanks for coming in.
You got it.
Tim Lill, the head coach of the Otter girls hockey team. We're going to reminisce about Otter football. Their last state playoff team was 2008, coached by Richard Risbrut. Coach Risbrut is with us. He'll join us after this timeout on Newstalk 1250 KBRF.
Here's to a great season for all our favorite high school athletes. American Legion is a favorite too and serves up everyone's favorite barbecued ribs. American Legion of Fergus Falls, open each Wednesday through Saturday on Pebble Lake Road in Fergus Falls.
Are you looking for a small SUV that drives like a car? Look no further than the Chevy Trax at Minnesota Motor Company in Fergus Falls. The Trax has an impressive amount of safety features and is designed to keep your cargo secure and passengers comfortable. With an MSRP starting around $23,000, it's a great buy. Contact the sales team to schedule a test drive today. Together, let's drive. Minnesota Motor. South Pebble Lake Road, Fergus Falls.
This is Chris Cannon from the Humane Society of Otter Tail County, and we're so excited to invite you to our second annual Pancakes for Paws fundraiser. Mark your calendars for Saturday, November 16th from 9 a.m. to noon at the Fergus Falls Eagles Club. For just $10 per adult and $5 per child, you'll enjoy a delicious breakfast of pancakes, scrambled eggs, and sausage. Kids 3 and under also eat free. Plus, our silent auction is back and better than ever, so come see us. Every bite and bid helps support our shelter animals. We hope to see you there.
Nelson Auto Center in Fergus Falls has a fantastic starting lineup with America's 3 favorite truck brands, Ford, Ram, and GMC. Nelson Auto can help you enjoy your time out on the road. Check out our starting lineup at Nelson Auto Center, Fergus Falls.
Quality Toyota is proud to salute the achievements of each quality player. It takes teamwork to compete, and the Quality Player Award recognizes the extra effort by an individual in each athletic contest. Quality Toyota commends the hard work, dedication, and quality efforts of these outstanding youth. That attitude will help each quality player as they go forward. Congratulations to each of the quality players from Quality Toyota on West Lincoln Avenue in Fergus Falls. QualityToyota.net. Let's go places.
High-quality local embroidery for your community. Running Stitches is the choice for everything, from business logos to team apparel and personal projects. They bring your designs to life. Andrew and Allison Olson from Running Stitches Embroidery are proud supporters of local sports.
Hailstorms can cause widespread damage to one's home. After these storms, dishonest contractors show up, hoping to make a quick buck from your insurance claim. They'll promise anything if they can get you to sign a contract, collect your payment in advance, and ultimately do no work at all. Avoid being the victim of contractor fraud. Get estimates from at least 3 contractors. Check references, and remember, if you didn't request it, reject it.
To report fraud, call us at 1-800-TEL-NICB. This is a public service message from the National Insurance Crime Bureau.
Welcome back. We're going in the time machine here. We're going back to 2008, the last time the Otter football team made the playoffs, and Richard Risbrook was the head coach, and Richard has been kind enough to come in and join us to reminisce a little bit. How you doing, Coach?
16 years. I was looking at the past, and when this team was winning games in 2008, the current Otter football players were 1 and 2 years old.
Oh man, yeah. And we were young men then.
Yeah, we were young, and then now our players are 33, 35 years old, got families, and it's just crazy, Craig. Life goes on.
Doesn't it? Yeah, but what a great year that was, that 08 team. And, you know, this year's Otter team finished 10-1, same as your team did that year. And I think, you know, one of the similarities between your two teams was pretty solid line, offensive line. You had some really good offensive linemen and defensive linemen on this team.
We did. You know, we were led by Josh Campion, who was a recruit from the University of Minnesota, played 4 years at the University of Minnesota. They recruited him as a sophomore out of high school. Craig.
Yeah, wow.
Signed him. And I remember when coaches were trying to recruit him, he had 10 major colleges going after him. Wow. Purdue, Iowa, Wisconsin. They were calling, and it was a wonderful thing. But then it got to be old after a while. But when a player verbally commits, then it stops.
Right.
And Craig, Josh went there, was captain of the Gopher football team. But next to him, you know, we had Ryan Jacobson at guard. You know, strong, fast, quick, not tall.
Right.
But he would hit them right in the waist where they bent. Adam Schuler was our center.
Went to NDSU.
Went to NDSU. I think he has 4 championship rings. I know he's got a bunch.
Yep.
And he played for the Bison. We had Devin Barker next to him on the right side. Both those pulling guards would go down the line and crack that defensive end, just full blast going in that direction. And then Andrew Sletton was a tackle on the other side.
Big boy.
Tight end was Colton Thorson.
Oh, yeah.
Remember Colton?
I do.
He was a tough kid. I think the family lived halfway between Fergus and Underwood, okay?
Yes.
So when the mom came to me and says, Colton wants to come to Fergus, but we want you to know something. Rodeo is his first love.
Oh, yeah.
Remember that?
I do remember that.
And so if rodeo's number 1 and football's number 2, that's the way it's going to be if Colton comes here. And I said, we'll take that. And in one game, Craig, if it was the game in the middle of the season, might have been Ricori or Sartell. Colton came to the game at halftime after the rodeo was done. After he'd wrestled a few steers. He was a steer wrestler. He'd hop off the horse and wrestle a steer and bring him down and then go to the rodeo and then come back and play football. I said, you know, the conflict wasn't very often, but I remember the one time he showed up at halftime and there he was. So, you know, quarterback Derek Hansen.
Yep.
drafted by the Oakland A's, I think, for pitching, one in the minor league. Derek was an excellent quarterback. Running backs, Matt Midhaugen.
He had some athleticism.
He had
Wow.
he ran like Henry Bethel.
Yeah,
Once he got in the open, he was gone. And Ike Carlson was a good blocker in front of him, and plus he could carry the ball. I remember watching the game, watching. I was watching, but I was coaching a little bit too.
That's right.
Down at Wilmer, and he just plugged it out. And our wide receivers were Will Rader, Nick Risbrut, Kyle Schakowsky.
Wow.
Siebenaller was in there, Tony Siebenaller. Quentin Allschmidt played on defense. But, it's just great to talk about these guys. They did Tyler Garding was a leader for us on defense. But there's other ones as well. Boyden Lee, Trevor Larson, Lars Ronovic, a linebacker on defense that really played tough in the middle there, led our team in tackles. And you remember our kicker? Trevor Gervais.
Yes, yes.
Trevor Gervais played soccer.
Yep.
And so we recruited him to kick for us, but he was good on field goals.
Yep.
And I'm not 100% sure on this, but I think he made all conference in 2 sports.
I know he was a 4-sport letter winner, which doesn't happen too often.
No, that's crazy.
Yeah.
A 4-sport letter winner in a 3-sport season, right?
Right.
During the school year?
Yeah.
Football, basketball, baseball, that's 3. Well,
yeah.
And I know there's been other ones in the past after that. So he kind of set the tone for soccer players kicking in football, which is a good thing. Let them do it.
Makes sense, doesn't it?
It does.
Yeah. Well, that team was 10-1. You went to the playoffs. You won the section title against who was it? Sauk Rapids Rice.
Sauk Rapids Rice.
Yeah.
If we start early, that summer we challenged this team to get in the weight room 125 times, and there's a banner in the weight room that signifies that fact. So these kids would mark it. Paul Ratz was the weight room guy. We took the team to in the summer to Valley City to a team camp, and so we were playing football in July against at least in June against Fargo North, against Wahpeton, Valley City, Jamestown. We played some tough competition, so they knew it was coming because we're in the Central Lakes. When I joined the ranks of the Otter coaching staff, as head coach, Schiller says, "Why, good to have you on board, but I just want you to know we're in the Central Lake Conference now." And I said, "Okay, what's that mean?" That means Moorhead. That means Bemidji, Brainerd, Alexandria, Rocori, Wilmer, the St. Cloud schools.
Yep.
And it's a tough road to hoe. In fact, we're Class 4A. We were one of the smaller schools, I think, in 4A, whereas even Bemidji, Brainerd for sure was 5A.
Yeah.
And if we want to talk about Brainerd a little bit, you talk about platooning your teams on offense and defense. 11 guys on offense, 11 guys on defense. Brainerd platooned their defense. They had 2 11-man teams, 11 coming in there and play defense. So, yeah, it was nice. It was good to beat them 31-29. Close
that
game.
Was sweet, wasn't it? And that was a.
The year before that, Craig.
Yes.
We played at Brainerd.
Yep.
Homecoming on a Saturday. We said, "Hey, we want to play a homecoming." Okay, we'll do it. They demolished us.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't pretty. Matt Midhaugen got hurt, and our guys were limping around, and they played the band played the Death March as we walked off the field, and our guys were next year when they come to our house, we're gonna put it to them. So when we started against Brainerd in that game, and we had a good team, we lined up in a wishbone, okay, to start the game at Brainerd, and said, "Try and stop us." And we had Colton Thorson in the backfield, got blocking along with Matt Midhaugen and Isaac Carlson. And with those guys on the line, we pounded down the field and scored. And then we went back to our regular offense after that, which was a spread. Okay, so that was a lot of fun.
That was a close game, though, wasn't it?
It was a close game. They almost beat us at the end.
Yep. We had to hold on.
We had to hold on. But we had a good lead going in the fourth quarter, and we hung on. That's one thing about playing teams that are bigger. Football, Craig, tends to be an enrollment sport.
Oh, yeah.
The bigger schools tend to have the better teams. It's hard for these smaller schools, to compete with bigger ones year after year after year. Every once in a while they can. But, yeah, Size makes a difference.
So your son Nick was part of this team. You mentioned him along with the other guys there. What was it like, Coach? You look back. I mean, and we'll get into this with Coach Stuvey in a little bit too, because he coached his boys on state tournament teams. How great is that to be able to coach your son and then to have the kids around him like he had around him, his teammates, and the success that he had as a part of this team?
Well, it's a wonderful thing, and something that all coaches look forward to. Nick and Adam Schuler are great friends even to this day.
Yeah.
They run each other's weddings and things like that. And so they develop a camaraderie. I called Nick and said, Nick, what should I talk about? I'm going on the radio on Saturday, 2018. He said, Dad, just talk about my diving catch at Sartell that I made for a touchdown the whole time.
Well, you did. So there you go.
A lot of players made big plays
yeah.
during that season. It wasn't only that. In the first game against Moorhead, where we won 37-13, remember the big play in that game? Josh Campion had an interception for a touchdown.
Yes.
Josh Campion played defensive line, in a rotation. We started other guys. You got to rotate your linemen on defense and offense. You got to give them a break once in a while. And he had an interception, ran it for a touchdown. So we're typing out the stats for the 2008, and scoring was Josh Campion with 6 points.
Wow. Coach Risbroot was a longtime coach at Hillcrest, very successful, won a state title in 2001, runners-up in the first Pret Bowl in '82. Lots of great history there. Made the move to the Otters. What year was your first year?
2005.
2005. So you go from 9-man to 11-man.
Yeah.
How hard of an adjustment was that, Coach? I mean, you obviously were familiar with 11-man football, but after all those years of coaching 9-man, was it hard to make
Well,
that
you
transition?
still have 5 guys on line of scrimmage.
Yeah, right.
So you got center, 2 guards, and 2 tackles. You still have a quarterback, and you have to have running back. That's 7. So where do you want to put the other 2? So we put them at wide receivers. So that's how we came up with the spread offense. When we were state champions in 2001, we had a spread offense. So where we have 1 running back and a quarterback in the shotgun position, and that was new back then.
Mm-hmm.
Putting in the quarterback in the shotgun positions. We were one of the first teams, at least in 9-man level, to go with the shotgun or pistol or whatever you want to call it, and it worked out pretty good because the quarterback can see the blitz coming if there's somebody misses their block and doesn't pick it up, and it just worked. So we just added 2 more wide receivers when I came to Ferguson. And fortunately, my first year, Andrew Larson was our quarterback. I think he was the all-area player in the Fargo Forum community and down in this area. And we had a good team that year, too.
Yeah. So your games, their playoff games, your section final was at
well, the section final was at St. John's University against Stock Rapids Rice, and that's where we won 21-7. Prior to that, we played Ricori on the Otter home field. We won that one 28-8. But when we played them in a regular season, the score was 28-26 down at Ricori. We had close games back then.
Oh yeah.
They were nip and tuck toward the end. Alexandria, when we played them, it was a nip and tuck game. We won that one 7-3. Bemidji game up in Bemidji, we won 25-12. Little Falls, a memory from Little Falls. We played Little Falls for homecoming, and I invited my old coach at Ashby to walk the sidelines with us. So Chuck Anderson came up from Ashby at 4:30, went in the locker room, came out and walked the sidelines with me. And in the 4th quarter, I said, hey, I'm going to put the headsets on you, and you're going to call a play. He said, what? I said, yeah. I held up my play card, and we were way ahead. It didn't matter. So I said, pick a number. And he said, okay, number 62. So we signaled in number 62, and Derek Hansen ran the play, and it worked. So the first time he'd put on a headset, I think.
Oh, wow.
Because he started coaching in 1961, maybe 2 or 3.
Use those then,
And headset was new to him, but it was fun. Good, fun to look back on.
So tell me about the state quarterfinal experience against St. Michael Albertville at St. Cloud State. That was quite the day.
That was quite the freezing cold day. St. Cloud State, the football field is along the river. right
Beautiful
there.
setting.
And it's a little warmer on the Grandstand side than it is on the far side, where it's a little bit windier and colder. And they had a good football team, Craig, no doubt about it. They had a running back that was like a bowling ball. We couldn't get low to tackle him because he put his head down, and it was hard to get down lower. Nick told me his name too, but Kwaku Amoa.
Okay.
Was the running back
All
from
right.
St. Michael, Albertville, that we couldn't stop that day. But it was I think they went on to the Metrodome, and they lost to Mankato West.
Okay.
And then Mankato West played in the championship, and I don't know if they won or not, but that's how that went.
Yeah.
So, but they had a good team, and it was super cold that day. Let's put
Yes,
it that way.
was. I remember that.
It would have been it was very cold and freezing, and
Windy.
the teams that played this fall don't know
Oh.
how nice they had it.
Beautiful
because
weather, yeah.
sometimes it can be radiant cold all season long.
Absolutely.
Well,
I really appreciate you coming in and talking about these guys and the memories of 2008, one of 5 Otter football teams to make the state playoffs, the last one until this year. So it's been kind of fun, I'm sure, as a former Otter coach to see the success they've had this year.
It was fun to watch this year's team and keep track of them. And, we kind of hide in the corner watching the games and stuff. and just we're there paying attention to what's going on. So congratulations to Coach Grabowska and the Otter football team this year. They did a super job. The community is proud of them, and we just wish them the best in the future.
Hey, thanks for coming in and doing a little looking back.
Okay, thank you, Craig.
Appreciate it. Richard Risbrut, our first guest on our time machine, our Otter time machine. We're going back further to 86 and 87 and even 77. Don Stuvey, the former Otter head coach, and his offensive coordinator on those 86-87 teams, Steve Atchison. They're joining us after the break here on Newstalk 1250 KBRF.
We all inherit things from our parents. Maybe it's your mom's smile or your dad's eyes. But what if it was something serious?
Our mom was diagnosed with lung cancer over 20 years ago, but she wasn't the only one. Our great aunt and uncle, our grandmother, and our great grandfather all had lung cancer too. Inherited lung cancer risk hasn't been well researched. We joined the Inherit study to change that.
It's easy to participate and will help improve screening and treatment. Learn more at goto.org/inherit.
Fergus Falls Area Habitat for Humanity sincerely thanks Otter Tail Power Company and Victor Windows and Doors for their key sponsorship of the 2024 Habitat Homes. Key sponsors provide $10,000 or more in financial support and material donations. Thank you, Otter Tail Power and Vector Windows and Doors, for the generous support for building homes for families in Fergus Falls and surrounding communities. Everyone deserves a decent, safe, and affordable place to live.
Winter weather can change quickly and can be hazardous. Listen to News Talk 1250 KBRF for the latest weather-related postponements and cancellations. Brought to you by Buyer Towing and Transportation, Northwest Tire, and Ugstead Plumbing and Heating. Schools, businesses, churches, and events. You can also find postponements and cancellations at KBRFradio.com and the Fergus Now app. Weather-related announcements brought to you by Ugstead Plumbing and Heating, Northwest Tire, and Buyer Towing and Transportation. Now at your Napa store, get an instant $10 rebate on a pair of Napa Exact Fit wiper blades. Save 25% on hip receivers and brake controllers. And save up to 38% on winter products like starting fluid, ice melt, power service, and more. Napa Synthetic 5-quart jugs of oil, $20.49. Shop online and pick up in the store in 30 minutes. Shop Napa in Pelican Rapids, Wahpeton, and Fergus Falls.
Napa know-how!
There's a cat explosion at the Humane Society of Otter Tail County with 27 cats available for adoption and 10s more becoming available soon. That's right, 27 cats. Long hair, short hair, cuddlers, players, and couch potatoes. Not only is the selection tremendous, the Humane Society is running an adoption special of $50 for all cats, including kittens, through the month of November. This includes spay-neuter, immunizations, and a microchip. Stop by the shelter soon to see these little charmers. Humane Society of Otter Tail County, 1933 West Fur Avenue, Fergus Falls.
I get my flu shot because I have asthma, and anyone with an underlying medical condition like me has a much higher risk of getting a really sick flu.
I get my flu shot to protect myself and my mom and dad.
Because when you're older, getting the flu can be dangerous, even deadly.
I get my flu shot because it's easy, and I don't want to miss out on all the holiday fun with my friends.
Flu vaccination is recommended for everyone 6 months and older. Schedule yours today and learn more at lung.org.
Welcome back to the program. Got a couple of familiar faces to Otter football history with us right now with Don Stuvey, the longtime head coach of the Otters, and his offensive coordinator and assistant coach, Steve Atchison, who coached for many years together and had some outstanding teams, outstanding seasons, great coaching staffs. And boy, this is great, guys. Thanks for coming in to reminisce on a real special year for Otter football. Isn't it exciting, Don, as a former coach, to see this year's kids do what they did?
Well, it always is. It's first of all, it shows what's happening in Fergus Falls as far as football, and it looks to me like it's in pretty good hands right now. So, yeah, congratulations to the team. Super year. Yeah.
Well, and Chris Grabowska is in his second year as head coach, but we talked a little bit with Chris at the end of the interview today about his assistant coaches and what a great group they are. And I know as a longtime head coach, you know how important it is to have a good group of assistants.
Well, that's certainly true. A good example is right here on my right. He pretty well ran that offense and did a heck of a job. So I know how important they are.
And Atch, I know as a guy that likes to throw the ball, and you had a few conversations with Coach Stuvey about wanting to throw more during those years, but he was kind of a hard nut to crack on that, wasn't he?
Yeah, when I first came to town in 1981, we were running the veer, we were open backs, and we were going off tackle right and left on the veer, and I played high school quarterback in college football. I played quarterback in college, and it's like, hey, we like to throw the football a little bit. And Don would say there's 3 things that happen when you throw the football, and we all know what they are, don't we, Don?
That's for sure.
3 things.
2 of them are bad.
Yep, you can 3 things you can, and 2 of them that happen are bad. So the completion's great, the incompletion is not good, and an interception is real bad. And I know the lesson of throw the football, and 2 of them are bad. So it took a while for us to kind of get in the groove on how we're going to throw the football.
Well, one of the things that I don't remember in the Fergus Journal, that article by Jason Bronco.
Yeah, where Tom Hinchin quoted
he said
Jason.
When we played Staples, we never threw the ball one time. I don't remember that. Do you?
It's real possible that we didn't do it. It's real possible, Don.
I certainly don't remember that. I must have thrown at least one.
I wanted to throw it more, but I think you told me that 2 of the 3 are bad.
It sunk in anyway.
Jason was a kicker on those 2 teams, but he also played tight end?
Tight end,
yeah. He did, yeah.
Yeah, but he had some big kicks for you.
Right. Well, that was a game where we beat him in overtime, and he got the kick.
In Albany.
In Albany.
In Albany, yeah.
Yeah, one of the greatest head knocker football. I remember several football games dramatically, and that game in Albany was maybe one of the toughest football games ever. And Jason Bronco hit a field goal after we beat him 10-7. It was just a fantastic football game. And last night the Otters have a great game with Albany, so it was like memory lane, just a head knocker game. And 15 years later or whatever it is, 20 years later, we're playing Albany again in another head knocker game last night, and our community's into it and our players are into it. It's a great experience.
Well, and Jason hit a big extra point in the state quarterfinals that year in '86 against Ricori. And if I remember correctly, it was kind of wet that night, wasn't it?
Yes, it was. Yeah.
And that's not easy to execute the
the game ended up 7-6. His extra point was the difference.
Yeah. So, and I do believe, Atch, that the only touchdown that the Otters scored in that game was on a pass.
Yep. It was a simple out pass in the rain, made the catch, and the D-back went underneath it to try to pick it off. It was going to be a pick 6, but he missed it. I forget who caught it.
Matt Abramson.
Okay, there we go. Turned the corner and down the sidelines, into the end zone in the far end of our stadium, and it was boom, boom. That was the only score for us, and Bronco made the extra point. It's 7-6, and we won the quarterfinals.
Wow. And then had to play Cambridge.
Right.
You know, come on, you've played Cambridge 2 years in a row, like their best 2 years of the history of their program.
Weren't they on a 30-some game winning streak?
Yes.
And they were the state champions one of those years.
Yep.
At the last year, I think.
Yeah, I think they won both years.
They did.
Won
They were
86.
back-to-back
Yep,
state champions.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, yeah, great timing to, to run into them.
You know, the time when we went to their place the first year was a Saturday afternoon, and it was both teams. We had a powerful front line, and we played strong football with them. It was a running game, and they just kind of out-muscled us. And but it was really a real tough, hard ground game, football game, and they ended up beating us, I don't know, 23-8 or something. I don't know. They took it to us pretty good. But the next year, we played them again, and they were the defending state champions, and they took us to the woodshed.
Yeah.
And
That was 30-some to 6 or something.
I got a funny
Something like
story
that.
about that, Don, and maybe you remember this. We're playing them semifinals of the state in our own place, and at halftime they're ahead like 31-0 at halftime, and we're walking behind the stadium, and Wally Pearson, bless his soul, says, he says, you know what? You know how we know we're in trouble? I said, no, how? And he says, we know their school song by heart, and it's only halftime. So we went in there at halftime, and we're getting crushed, right? And we kind of settled the kids down, and we just said, kids, you call all your plays, you call your all defense in the second half, and we just let the whole game turn onto the kids. And the kids were having a blast in the second half. We got beat like 42-12 or something, but the kids had a great time in the second half.
Don, you had boys playing on those teams. Right. Both Chad and Ned were parts of, I think Ned was part of both teams, and Chad was a senior in '86.
Right.
So what was that like to coach your boys, first of all, and then to get to a situation where you're in a state tournament with them?
Well, it was a great thrill because, first of all, they both liked football. And so when they're having good years, it makes the old man feel pretty good, you know. So, no, I was proud of them. They played, I thought, great football.
Great linebackers, both of them. Yeah, were outstanding. And your defense as a whole, what do you remember about those years that your defense, you always had strong defensive teams?
Well, part of it was we did a lot of stunning. We didn't just sit in a 5-2. We did a lot of stunning, and I think that was part of it. But we had some good athletes, awful good. You know, got to give them the credit.
Mm-hmm. Up front, the linemen, some strong linemen there. I don't know if you have a list of some of those guys. I know Mark Moxness was on both teams, and he was a big lineman.
Yeah, Tony Swensrud was a good lineman. Steidel was playing for us at the time. Rich Steidel was playing with us. Dean Johnson was playing in there. Paul Kostelecki played in there a little bit.
Buzz Anderson.
Buzz Anderson was in there. Bill Swanson was in there. Mark Mockness, like you mentioned. There's some real nice. We had some real nice big kids that did it. Everybody loves a big man, you know. I always like to say that. Everybody loves a big man.
We didn't always have them, but Don Brophy on that team also.
Yeah. Jim Brophy was great. He went on to play at North Dakota State, so Jim Brophy was a really nice lineman for us.
Yeah. So lots of great names out of the past. How about the guys that ran the ball for you in those years? Do you remember who the main guys were there in the backfield? Was
you know, back when we first came, I think when things changed is when Len Kretschman came to town in that 82, 83, 84 stretch of time. Len came as a junior, and we went from open backs and running the veer and coming off tackle real hard. And then we got into the state playoffs and played Rosemont Len's junior year, and Joe Gervais was the quarterback. And we played in the the state playoffs and got beat, but in Rosemont. But the next year, I talked Don into saying, let's go into the I, because we had Len Kretschman and not run the veer. We still ran the veer, but we put Len in the I, and we ran option to the right, to the left, on just lead option. It was checked with me at the line of scrimmage. And Len had that different gear that anybody else did, and a gear much like Henry Bethel has. You know, if they're in space, they're gone. And that's what kind of happened.
What happened, too, in that team is we had Scotty Groen, he was the other running. Very seldom do you get two good backs.
Yeah.
At least in my case, I don't think we ever had. We had good, really good backs, but never two of them same year. And so Scotty would run up the middle and would get pitch out
Yep,
Lenny
Scotty
to the
Grone could really
outside.
go
And,
too.
yeah.
And he was kind of a, we'd sneak him the ball once in a while. You'd sneak him the ball and he was gone. Just up the middle, over guard and center, and
Well,
he
they
was
had
gone.
that little trap right off the.
We ran that trap play to perfection,
yeah.
didn't we, Don?
Yeah.
That was great.
Yeah.
So
Good
yeah, we had
stuff.
some nice backs. You know, and then of course, after Len played, then John Kretschmann came, and then we had Chad Welly was a nice back. Scott DeBrito was a nice back. So we've had some really good athletes at the time, and kids that could handle the football. We had good quarterbacks. Joe Gervais is a good quarterback, and Keith Pearson's a good quarterback. Matt Brimhall was a great quarterback, right? We had kids that were great, gifted quarterbacks, but then they were great leaders too. It's like they'd step in the huddle and say, "Hey, we're going to run the option, and we're going to throw the ball," and everybody kind of paid attention.
Well, the 86, 87 teams, if the memory serves right, and I talked to a couple of guys, Pete Snewstead was your 86 quarterback, and he was a senior that year, right? He had been behind Keith, who graduated the year before.
What was he, about 5'8"?
He was a little guy,
Just
yeah.
a little guy, but he did the job.
Yeah. Yeah, he is one of those guys that ran the show and didn't hurt you, you know, just got the job done. And then in 87, was it Brent Johnson?
Right.
Correct.
Yeah.
He was an athlete. I mean,
Yeah.
tough kid to tackle.
You could play Brent Johnson at starting quarterback, or he could be your starting nose guard on the defensive line, because
That's
either
true.
way, he'd been successful.
Good point. And I think Travis Berger was
Mm-hmm.
your most valuable offensive back looking back at the awards.
Well, and he was good as a flanker. We threw the ball to him quite often.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Yeah. So lots of playmakers, lots of guys there that did the job. John Rose, was he a lineman for you?
John Rose.
Yeah.
That memory lane going here.
I know, it's
Thanks.
great. So, well, and thanks to Matt. I did talk to Matt Abramson, and he schooled me a little bit on it.
He
So,
told you about the pass that he caught then, right?
you know, Tom Hinchin actually told me about that. But yeah, but I did ask Matt about it, and he said what you said, Atch, that it was in the rain. He didn't even know. So I was surprised I caught it. I didn't even see it. You know, it's all of a sudden it's in your lap. So
I thought it was intercepted. I was on the deal, go, and then all of a sudden he's like, no, he's going to score. So I thought it was a pick six, but it turned out to be a touchdown for us.
all right, I think Zach, I need one more break. Or are we good here? I should take a break maybe and come back. We'll take a break and come right back. Coach Stuvey and Coach Atchison with us for about another 10 minutes here to reminisce about Otter football. So don't go away. We're coming back with more on the Coaches Show here on News Talk 1250 KBRF. The Chevy Red Tag sales event is going on now at Minnesota Motor Company in Fergus Falls. Most 2024 model year vehicles are at closeout pricing, like up to $11,500 on a Chevy Silverado, or come with great financing options like 0% APR for well-qualified buyers. Contact the sales team at Minnesota Motor Company for more information. Together, let's drive. South Pebble Lake Road, Fergus Falls.
Aging well means staying healthy, active, and independent. To age well, we need to take care of our bones. 10 million Americans have osteoporosis, a hereditary disease that makes bones weak and more likely to break. Thankfully, we can all take simple steps to improve our bone health at any age. Eat a healthy diet that is rich in calcium and vitamin D. Get regular weight-bearing exercise, which means on our feet. Get bone health tips at pathtogoodbonehealth.org.
Now at your Napa store, get an instant $10 rebate on a pair of Napa Exact Fit wiper blades. Save 25% on hip receivers and brake controllers. And save up to 38% on winter products like starting fluid, ice melt, power service, and more. Napa Synthetic 5-quart jugs of oil, $20.49. Shop online and pick up in the store in 30 minutes. Shop Napa in Pelican Rapids, Wahpeton, and Fergus Falls.
Napa know-how! Welcome back to the program. We're reminiscing Otter football history. 5 times in the history of Otter football have they made the state playoffs. Don Stuvey coached 3 of those 5 teams. Steve Atchison assisted him for 2 of those years of the 3. And now the Otters with their 5th appearance with Coach Grabowska last night against Albany. and a tough 28-27 loss. Richard Risbrook coached the other team at State in 2008. He joined us a little earlier. Don, before we go back to the 86, 87, I want to go back to 77. We're going back even further in the time machine here because that was your first state tournament appearance with the Otters. I was not here, so my memory of it is 0. What do you remember about that 77 team?
I can't even tell you who we played.
Well, okay, then that's that. So
You got to remember, I'm old. My memory is shot.
I can tell you who played in the state quarterfinals, and that was Ricori, and they beat you 6-0 in the state quarterfinal game in 77. So that was.
I know something now then.
Yep, there you go. You know more than you knew when you came in.
Right.
All right. Well, those 86, 87 teams, well, they went the furthest of any Otter team that has made it to state to the semifinals. And you think back, and Chris and I talked about it earlier today about the community support, the school support. What do you remember about that, guys, about the way the community got behind those teams, or all of your teams for that matter? Because Fergus Falls has been special as far as supporting their high school teams.
Well, the funny thing about that is when way back in 67, that's when I came. But when the job opened in Fergus, I wasn't interested at all. And I was at Montevideo at the time, and John Odegaard was the track coach, and Denny Anderson was the AD here, and he tried to recruit John as a track coach here. I told Odegaard, I said, don't go there. That's a deathbed. You don't want to go there. And, well, coming from Henning, I was pretty well familiar with Fergus. And about, I don't know, 2-3 weeks later, I was up here for an interview. So
and you're still here.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about that.
Don, you and I coached together for 15 years, and I did the records. We were 104 and 38 in the 15 years that we did our thing. Do you remember how many years you were the head coach at Fergus High School, and what your high school record is at Fergus High School being an Otters? Because you really turned Fergus Falls into being a football-known school in town. I don't know what the record was, but you got to take credit for some of those. Well, it was just part of the, as an assistant coach, you're part of it. It's really fun to be a part of it. It's good for our kids. It's always about the kids and good experiences for the coach or for the kids to play. And, great stadiums we went to. We got to play in the Metrodome. We got to play in Cambridge. We got to play in a lot of these different great stadiums. But so it's about the kids, but it's also about our community rallying around spirit, right? And it's been great. But I think you really got that established because you started winning. But the other thing is that, a couple years we weren't in any conference, so we were playing statewide. We played Lakeville, we played Anoka, played Hibbing, played one of the Bismarck schools. So
Watertown, South Dakota.
And we always had good followings. The people really followed well. And, you'd come to these towns, and even the people there would tell you, gee, Fergus really follows. And they did. So they'll follow if you win a couple games. And one of the, I'm going to change the question for you, Craig. I don't remember this, tell you if you remember this, Don, but in the 87 team, we were playing in the quarterfinal game against Litchfield, and we're losing. They're beating us late in the game, and it's a rainy, muddy field there. And it's a timeout. They got to punt the football to us, and kind of like the Otters last night, late in the game, and you got to go down. And we went into the huddle with Wally Pearson and said, hey, we got to block this punt. Ned Stuvey says to Chris Beltran, you and I are far apart, Don. Ned says to Chris Beltran, he said, I'm going to block the punt. You pick it up, scoop it, and score, and we're going to win the game. That's what happened.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a good memory.
Yeah. I'll never forget it. Yeah.
1918 was the final in that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We missed the extra point, but we won.
Don't talk.
But we were ahead.
Don't
we were
talk
ahead,
about
so it didn't
missed
matter.
extra points today.
They came down the field and almost scored. They had enough time to run the ball at us, and they didn't. We shut them down, and that was it. 1918 on a scoop and score, and Ned called it out.
Yogi Berra may be a baseball player, but his it ain't over till it's over thing works for football too.
I'll never forget it.
Yeah, that's an amazing memory there. This community, back to the community frameworks, I wanted to talk about something that I always enjoyed. And I think, Coach Stuvey, you probably really brought this to the forefront in your years, was the quarterback club. And on Monday nights, I think you'd get together in the Otter Tail Power community rooms. You'd show the game film. You'd pick it apart. You'd answer questions. And a number of parents and just fans would come in and enjoy that session that you had kind of a film breakdown session. And I think that really helped to create a lot more interest.
Plus, we would give them a scouting report. So,
Right.
You know, when they come to the game, a lot of the things that happened, they expected, or, you know, at least we're familiar with it.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a great.
We did it on Thursday night at Otter Tail Power in the community rooms. And by then, practice was over. We knew what the game plan was. And sometimes it was standing room only in the Otter Tail Power community rooms. And the next Friday night, we would do what we said we were going to do.
And I don't know if there's anybody better at going with the film than you, Stu. I mean, back and forth and pointing things out, and I mean, you had it down.
We had real film. And
Yes.
At a certain time, we had color film. The budget was that, and you believed in that, didn't you, Don?
Yes, I did.
Yeah. And you didn't want to be in the film session on Mondays if you were on the team, and we didn't run that play back. Run that play back. We were in that film session a long time, Don.
All the secrets?
Well, we
There
were
are
in there
no
a long
secrets
time,
now.
Don.
Okay, the crow's nest is gone. I mean,
Bad. Too bad. You would have enjoyed it.
Oh, you'll love it. Yeah, they have a drone. We had a crow's nest.
Oh,
okay.
so the ladder got a little shaky trying to get up there, but that was a perfect place to see what was going on.
It got shaky because you came down it so fast, you shook it off its hinges, I think. What was the benefit there for you, Coach, being up in that crow's
Well,
nest?
you could see especially the line play, you know, and also you get a view of the receivers, you know, the kind of the pattern and so on.
Yeah.
You know, I enjoyed it up there.
Yeah.
Plus, I didn't have to argue with them.
A little harder to argue with the coach when
I
he's
like
up
Don
there.
up there too. Sometimes I'd put the headset and I'd just let him hang around my neck because I could still hear him because he was right up there. It's like, what are you doing down there? Oh,
good memories.
Too many good memories is right.
Yeah, outstanding. Well, you guys made a lot of impact on a lot of kids, a lot of families, just created some great memories and for yourself as well as for all the kids and their families. So really appreciate you coming in and reminiscing about two really exciting teams, but more so, you know, just a great program that you guys were a crucial part of. So thank you for your time this morning, Don and Steve. Appreciate
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, great
Enjoyed it.
great to reminisce. Well, that's our trip back in the time machine for today, and that's the end of our fall program. We'll be back on November 30th, starting our winter coaches show Saturday mornings from 8 to 9:30. Be sure to join us here on News Talk 1250 KBRF.
Had to have happened.
I'm sure.
They put something in there thinking it was going to clean it, and it caused damage.
Is
like
there
that.
any additive I can put in the tank if I'm unsure?
Yeah.
And we don't even have, I mean, there's so many that.
Justice Brothers makes some amazing fuel system cleaners.
Yeah.
You just pour right in the tank. When you're changing the